Your Sports Saturday, and with me, it's getting to be a regular thing, and I like to have you out here when you do it. It's Dylan Thompson from Fishing with Dylan. How you doing today? Do you need me to turn you up a little bit?
No, I think it sounds
You're good? Okay. I just did turn you up a little bit here. I know you're a big wrestling fan as well.
Yeah. Pardon me. One of my boys does it. A couple of them did it when they were younger. I kind of grew out of it, but my youngest is still an avid wrestler, so we've been paying really close attention to the Tigers up at the Excel Center this week, and the team getting fourth was super cool.
Yeah.
There's a couple individuals still in the hunt for podium spots.
And that's where I'm watching right now. Logan, so in period one, Logan got the takedown, and then Gabriel Morin from Bemidji got an escape, so it was 3-1. Logan deferred, and Morin wanted to go on bottom. Stalling call at 1:14 from Davis, but then a caution at 42 seconds for Morin, but still 3-1. So I'm watching that as we're going through here. Did
3-1 in favor of Logan?
Yeah, 3-1 in favor of Logan still.
Okay.
Now, you didn't wrestle when you were younger, did you?
I did not.
I'm gonna
Maybe
say,
in like kindergarten or something.
I don't remember you wrestling at all. I can say you probably, were you same age as Logan Hansen?
No, Logan's a couple years younger than me.
Okay. So, because what year did you graduate?
03?
Okay. So, yeah, and Logan, I mean, he wrestled with us, which was crazy. I mean, that's a varsity, you know. And he could keep up with some of those. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he, you know, obviously he was probably like 80 pounds, maybe if that.
Sure.
But yeah, I just didn't know for sure how they went. Period 3 now underway. Davis did take bottom. He's going to probably look to get an escape. Still leading 3-1. But let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit what's going on out on the lakes right now. Logan did get an escape, so it's 4-1.
Okay, so no, aren't Logan and his current opponent were the 1 and 2 ranked in the state for that weight class, weren't they?
I don't know if Morin was.
The boys and I were just talking about it before I left the house because I knew that match was coming up. And they said Logan and that kid were the 1 and 2 in that weight class.
Okay, I know that.
So if my kids are correct, I'm correct.
I would assume it is too.
Sure.
Because I know with talking with Jody, Logan's mom, of course, Logan should have been ranked number 1. But whoever, and if it says Gabriel Morin, dropped a weight class. And he won last year's state championship.
Okay.
So that's why he got to be number 1.
Oh, okay.
So if this is that, that's exciting. I mean,
yeah.
Number 1 versus number 2. We've seen a lot of that actually Thursday as well. I know it was Corman, and afterwards I was talking with Mark Inderly. Inderly, of course, was on Kate that day doing the call, but me and Mark, we hung out through the whole time, whatever. And he says, "Did you watch that Robideau kid?"
I was just going to ask about that. Is he as good as they say?
Oh God, that was crazy. And of course, he's number 1 in the state. Corman, did everything he could. But when I talk about how athletic that Robideau is, and 160 pounds, I mean, not little by any means, he was like leapfrogging over Corman to get around.
I heard a couple wild stories from some of the people that were up there, how like he was tied up with somebody and like flipped over him and turned it into a fireman and like just flying around. Yeah, out of control. That kid has an amazing reputation. Sounds like he's a really good, wholesome athlete and has a very bright future and has some big dreams to kind of work toward the world stage. And if he's as talented as it sounds like he is, he should have no trouble with that.
Yeah, it was amazing to kind of watch. And then on the way home, I did turn on a station out of Shakopee, and I was listening to seeing how I did my first time actually doing a play-by-play for wrestling. First time doing anything with wrestling really in like 20-some years. I didn't feel so bad. I thought it was okay.
You were good.
So, 21 seconds left. Davis up 4-1 as the clock is running down here. We'll finish this, and then we'll get into the fishing because there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
I'm engaged in the wrestling match, too, so if we
take
a moment and focus on
7 seconds it's showing on here. Davis still up 4-1. Obviously, Bemidji trying to get a takedown.
That's all you can do and put it into sudden
They
death.
just pop back up to 3 seconds. Now down 0. This should be it, pending anything. Wait for the official update here. Still showing 4-1. Period 3, 0-0-0. Nothing yet. Nothing
Come
yet.
on,
Come
baby.
on. I'm gonna, like I said, I'll assume Davis will win, and he'll be going for state champion.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. I know, like I said, at some point here today, we should see Corman going again.
Yep.
That's it. They called it. Logan Davis defeated Gabriel Morin from Bemidji 4-1. So if that Gabriel Morin is the number 1 seed or the number 1 ranked, that's awesome. Congratulations, Logan, on that. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about what's going on those lakes. Driving by the other day, it's like a ghost town in most areas now. Of course, everybody had to get their houses out.
Yep. I think inland, I was just going through this the other day. Today, right now, is the last day to have your house out on Wisconsin border water. So Mississippi, St. Croix. Got to get her off. March 3rd is the inland limit. So what is that, Tuesday or something? Monday?
Yeah.
Monday,
Well,
Tuesday?
Today's the 1st, so yeah, it'd be Tuesday.
Monday.
I don't know what day. Yeah,
So
Monday. I thought today was Sunday for a second.
Yeah. If you've got an unattended house on inland waters, get it off by Monday. March 5th for the South Dakota border. March 17th for inland waters north of Highway 200. And then Canadian border waters, I think you have maybe even into April. But it's cold up there. Other than that, locally, it sounds like the crappie bite and everything is held on. I mean, you got to find where they're at. And like we said, with the development of the lake over the last couple of years, some of those traditional areas have changed. But I've talked to a few people that had decent luck last week while we were chatting, no less. And the deal is you still got to kind of follow them in and out of the basin. They're moving out of the basin near shore in low light periods and reverse in the morning, blah, 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 blah. But if you can get on them, I mean, crappie bite is still solid. And, we kind of talked last week about transitioning to late ice and how that's going to work. And the panfish bite should just get better and better and better as the late season progresses and the ice comes off. So it's not over. You can't target walleyes, northerns, and bass currently, but plenty of opportunity remains through the rest of the late winter, springtime.
So let's talk a little bit now. What can you still do out on Fountain? You can still take a portable if you want, correct?
You can take a portable. You can bring your wheelhouse out as long as you stay in it, unattended. Like you can't leave the house there.
Okay, so nothing
alone.
Unattended.
Nothing unattended. If you want to stay in your wheelhouse, which with the temps we've had, I'm not going to recommend that. Here, we started this program talking about ice safety a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of got to a point where I think people felt more comfortable. But now we're back, late season. It's going to soften. It's going to be weird if you're not super familiar with current and all that other great stuff. Be very mindful of where you're walking and where you're putting down a house. We don't want anybody to sink themselves or their stuff.
No.
But if you're in it, you can have your wheelhouse out still. But,
so have you heard of the ice conditions out there right now?
I'm not gonna say you can drive your truck and portable out somewhere. But if you go out and be careful and check and you've got an appropriate amount of good clear ice, be my guest, right? But with the warm weather we've had, there's some rain and snow coming. Mm-hmm. Everything's going to be changing very quickly, wherever you're at. So, like I said, coming back to, ice safety being absolutely paramount, your accesses are going to be starting to get beat up, right? Really warm days. The excess is going to collect solar energy and melt the ice at the access, right? So, you may not sink your ice castle, but you might rip the axle off it because it drops in a hole, right?
Well, and that's just it. I was looking out there, it was yesterday. A lot of open water out there, especially around the aerators, around those edges and stuff. More than what we had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
it's definitely getting out there.
And that's what I mean. We had cargo through the Hatch Bridge a couple weeks back. Somebody got just a hair too close to that bridge and car dropped in. So, with a couple weeks of warm temps now after that, you got to go back to the basics of ice safety. Be drilling lots of holes, keep your ice picks with you, be ready. But
yeah, as far as tournaments, everything's pretty much over with.
yeah.
I know I didn't really hear anything, on Beaver and St. Olaf, so I don't know if they had a tournament this year. I didn't really see anything. I know last weekend Lon was up at Mille Lacs for the big tournament. I didn't know actually that's what he was doing, so I messaged and said, hey, get your phone out. We're going to be talking about you guys up there. Only one of them, it was Stephen Brackey. He had like a 1 pound perch.
Yeah.
So he got on the board, but it's still exciting.
Right. I guess there is one walleye tournament going on today. Actually, it's called the Freeze Your Butt Off walleye tournament, walleye sauger tournament on Pool 4 of the Mississippi.
Okay.
I know a couple guys that are fishing that. Good luck to them. But yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, that's
March is too soon.
yeah, it gets a little.
It was like 10 degrees this morning.
Yeah, it's and that's just it. Is you don't know how to dress for a day like today.
Well, right, and I don't have enough butt to freeze off. Right?
Yeah, the wind. Of course, yesterday was really windy. It was cold wind. It was warm, but it's kind of cold. So you get in the morning, it's cold, and once again, we're in Minnesota. You can experience all 4 seasons in a day, right? So
I guess I think I'm a hardcore fisherman, but I'm not going like. That doesn't sound appealing to me.
Yeah,
so,
I like I said, I'm with you.
Kudos to the guys that bought the ticket and took the ride. I'm proud of y'all. I hope you had a great day on the water, but let's talk
a little bit more about outdoor stuff going on. I know we talked last week a little bit about sheds, and I actually, I can't remember what night it was. Friend, they went out shed hunting, and they got a couple.
Awesome.
So that's kind of neat. But right now, the deer, they're traveling hardcore right now.
Moving all over the place, field to field, looking for different stuff to browse. They had a relatively mild winter, obviously, save for that little blip the last 10 days or so. So they're going to be looking for anything fresh they can find with the warmth coming in there. And yeah, I've seen tons of reports of the sheds hunting season kicking off. And mentioning shed hunting, the Minnesota Deer Classic is next weekend at Canterbury Park.
Okay.
And that's where they go through, some of the big deer and turkeys and cool stuff like that have been caught or harvested, I should say, over the last year. So that's a neat thing to go check out if you haven't. They have tons of speakers and seminars and exhibits to look at, all kinds of cool stuff. So that's something. And then, having said that, we're kind of in the heart of vacation boat and camping show season, right? Northwest Sports Show's next weekend. There's a Red River Valley show going on. Tons of stuff coming up over the next few weeks if you want to go on vacation or buy a camper or look at a boat. If you need a little break from fishing with the season ending, maybe that's a good way to spend the weekend. Take the family up there and jump through some pontoons or different boats at some of these different shows or book a vacation. Lots of resorts and stuff show up at these deals and offer specials on family vacations. And yeah, just a great way to kind of check out the industry and see what's cooking.
Yeah, and I know, and people can go to our big shopping page. We always have different things up there for like up north for hotels and some resorts. So if you're planning that, get out there. Get those discounts. Go to our big shopper page. Of course, when we really talk about what happens over the next couple of months as far as fishing goes, we're just kind of in that waiting period now.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff I do now until late April, you're taking bait inventories, you're charging your boat batteries, you're, kind of doing those little maintenance-y things, making sure life jackets fit everybody in the house, or anybody that might be in the boat, or if anything's wrecked or ruined, or check your fire extinguisher, right? Now is the time to be going through that stuff. Is your throwable still in good shape? Make a good checklist and go through all that so you're ready come opener or your first day tubing or motorboating or whatever you're floating around doing on the water. Make sure you're dialed, right? And now the weather's a little better so you can sneak out in the shed or whatever and it's not bitter cold. Make sure all your stuff's dialed.
Make sure the mice didn't go and chew everything up.
Yeah. You don't want a really sad surprise come May 1st when you go yoink that thing out of the shed, right? So do your inventory, take stock of what you got going. You know, your supplies all in good working order. Replace your sunscreen, yada, 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 right?
Wow,
you know,
and
you
that's
start
just
thinking
it, yeah.
about all the stuff you need for a day on the water, right? Like, it's a long list. And, you know, it's better to have it all squared up a couple weeks ahead of time than, you know, you go show up on the day of and you're like, ooh, this is ruined. This is ruined. The mice ate this.
Well, and that, I know when we used to have a lot of boats and things like that, that was one of those surprises. Is you'd always find mice somehow would get in, no matter what you did, even in your campers and stuff like that.
Right.
Mice always find their way in. But then you'd find a couple nests are here and there, and you got to go buy a new life jacket, or you got to go do whatever, you know, because they chewed it all up and things like that. So let's talk about what's one of the things that you're most excited for here coming up. I know you fishing opener. You're going to be up north.
Yep, I'll be on Leech Lake for opener. I have a tournament the week after, so we'll do a couple days of practice, come home for a few days, and then go back up, a couple days of practice, and then the tournament. And then I hope to be getting on the river if the extended forecast stays good. You know, hopefully the next couple weeks we'll give that a shot. I'll be at the Northwest Sports Show myself in Minneapolis next week. And then turkey hunting, you know, that has kind of popped up here and there for us. I've been talking to a couple buddies about that. It's time to start, you know, kind of sneaking around and doing some really early scouting and just seeing, you know, are the birds still grouped up? Are they separating? Somebody told me they heard some gobbling the other day. That just gets my blood pumping.
Nice.
Dave. I can't even tell you. So yeah, start roaming around. And that's a great way, you know, shed hunt, look for turkeys, all that stuff. You know, you can start multitasking real fast, or at least that's what you tell your wife, right?
Well, yeah, you
going for a walk in the woods, lady. You know,
you always have something in the and just to get away from your wife or your kids for a while.
Yeah,
just
whatever.
Get out in the peacefulness of nature.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And my kids used to love doing that too. I mean, they still will go once in a while, but you know, they're not quite as enthusiastic about it as they used to be. But you know, put some rubber boots on Boyo or Girly and go clomping, right?
So I know last week we talked a little bit. There's some changes to the turkey hunting areas or the licensing this year. You were saying?
Yep, no more lotteries. And there's like, I know Carlos Avery Wildlife Management area. You have to do a lottery to get a ticket to hunt that area. And I think Whitewater, over by the river. It's not quite the river. Whitewater State Park or Whitewater. I don't know, they do a turkey season a little ways east of here. I think you still need to do a lottery for that one. But the vast majority of the state, you can buy your license over the counter. And that's a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous opportunity. Minnesota has an awesome turkey population. You know, from right here in Albert Lea, I've seen turkeys as far north as like Clearbrook, north of Bemidji, right?
Wow.
Like there are turkeys, Virginia, Grand Rapids, and everywhere in between. The Mille Lacs area has tons, like there are turkeys across the state of Minnesota. And, you know, watch a couple YouTube videos and get the basics down. It's really not
Because when does that season start?
April 16th.
So April 16th. So I know I have a lot of friends that like to turkey hunt, and I've never done it. But like I said, it is one of those exciting things, and I can't wait to see some of those pictures as they start popping up.
Here's what gets me about it. You don't get to hunt very many things that you, like, have a conversation with while they're coming in, right? Like, everything else, you got to sit there and shut up and not do anything, right? Like, the turkey, though, like, you call it the turkey, and they gobble back, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you have this whole dynamic where you're going back and forth with this thing, and then, you know, it gets right within your circle of range, so to speak, you know, maybe 60 yards out, and like, can you talk him into closing that last 20 yards or better so you can get a shot, right? It's fun. How often do you get to talk to the thing you're hunting?
You don't get to talk to fish all the time.
No,
you
fish
fall in the
don't
lake.
want to hear anything I have to say.
I know my friend Jess. She's fallen like a few times, and we're like, "What's the fish saying down there, Jess?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Shut up." Anything else you want our listeners to know this week?
Off the top of my head, no. I mean, I mentioned the sports shows. The weather's great for shed hunting, and the panfish bite is gonna stay solid through the ice melt, right? You'll probably have a couple weeks in the middle there where you can't get on the ice, and everything will get a real break. But once that cracks off, I hope everybody jumps right back on the water and starts chasing those shallow panfish right away.
Yeah, and effective today, you need a new license.
New license.
Yeah, today. So don't if you're listening right now, don't go and jump on in the lake unless you have your new license.
What we were on with Jay a couple weeks ago, you can do it right from your phone, and he said if he can do it, anybody can do it, right? So simple process. Make sure you have it, but yeah, there's a ton of opportunity. Just because the walleye season closed doesn't mean it's over.
Well, and we've talked. We're both panfish guys. Nothing better than a nice crappie in my book.
It's my favorite fish to eat.
It's always good. Easy to clean too. That's the nice thing I like about crappies. So yeah, compared to the walleye, I like walleye, but I don't know how to clean them correctly. And as soon as I hit a bone,
well, then your knife's dull and whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming in today, Dylan. And once again, go to Facebook, Fishing with Dylan. And you can see everything out that he has out there for you, his podcast, things like that, as well as maps of the lakes where all the shelter, the new shelter is. He's got all that there as well. So thank you again, Dylan, for coming in.
Yep. And to the listeners, keep an eye on them last couple wrestling kids searching for individual glory. And, if you see them athletes around town, hockey, girls, boys, whatever, tell them what a great job and all the heart. Congratulate them on all their hard work.
Yeah, and like so I said, we've had a great season for Albertley area. Not only just Albertley, but Glenville, Emmons, Alden, Conger, NRHEG, Austin, all of our listening area. It's been a fun season, and like I said, we've got plenty more to go. With that, we're going to take our last break here before we wrap up the show. You're listening to Tiger Sports Saturday here on Power 96.